Hi, everyone. It's Michael and Dave here again with Marketing for Coaches. And today we're going to talk about the thing that is always fun to see when the butterflies come up in new and even more experienced coaches, and that is pricing and
Hmm.
talking to having those sales conversations and talking to people about price and what you charge.
Mhm.
And one really interesting roadblock that a lot of coaches face is the first round of objectives when you tell someone what you charge and they say, "Oh, that's too much," or "I don't want to pay that." Dave, how do you talk to coaching clients who object to your pricing? What do you do with
Well,
that?
well, thanks, Michael. I think first thing I'd point out too is that you don't want to lead with price
Mhm.
conversations. So this is a we're assuming Michael and I that you're already having watched this channel a little bit. You've talked to the client or prospect about all the value that you can uh, help them with, and so I think that's a really important part is that money is not the focus or the primary thing. Of course, money matters, and so we'll get into that. But I think that people need to be able to see what is the opportunity to work with you as a coach, and what are your unique skills and this unique point in time for them, and what customization and unique approach you're going to bring to their life that's going to help them completely transform or change the way they're doing things. So when that becomes the focus, the money to me takes a big back seat, and I start to lump money into the same sort of excuse bucket as time. Oh, I don't have time, or
Hmm.
I don't have money. And while it certainly can be true, Michael and I were talking before the call that some clients don't have any money for coaching and this isn't really a good fit for them, or they don't have the time. Most of the time, those words, time and money, tend to be around prioritization and how important something is. Um, Especially talking about successful people who are, employed and you know choosing how they spend these things. So just to get that out of the way. Uh, so the question now, what to do when you come into contact with or you have an objection from the client? They just say that's just simply too much money. I can't afford it. I mean, I think I always use that as an opportunity as well to sort of explore. Well, so what let's take a step back. So what is this coaching program about for you? Is this what are we going to do together here? We talked about this, we talked about that, whatever those things we talked about, and to sort of remind them that that's in the same discussion as well as not just it's not a one-off payment. The next thing I think is really important is to ask them, is there some way the payment terms, like for instance, like would it be is it something about like paying coming up with money now versus later, or payment plan, or is it like a um, a lump sum versus like a uh, some kind of what's the word I'm looking for, Michael? Uh,
Oh,
the
like an installment plan?
installment, yeah, wait, installment,
Yeah.
or like a package. That's what it was like
Okay.
a coaching package, or is it like a coaching, one to one? So I think those are, that could be a distinction there around how people perceive coming up with the money. But I think one thing I think about, with my own coaching business at least, is there's this old Picasso story around he's sketching in the park, and this woman asks him for a sketch, and he quickly draws up something, and then asks for $5,000 or something in today's funds. And she says, that's crazy. You just drew that in 20 minutes. And he's saying, oh, no, but it took me a lifetime to be able to draw this sketch for you right now in a few minutes. And I do think a little bit of my coaching in that, and I think for anyone watching this, you've done a lot of training, you've done a lot of
Mm.
thinking about this, you've probably got quite a few experiences, maybe decades even of experiences coming into this, whether you're a parenting coach or uh, a creative coach or whatever sort of coaching you're doing, you've got a lot to bring there. And I think coaches tend to undervalue their services, not So it doesn't mean you need to give them the Picasso story, but you might give your own version of, I've also done a lot of training to get to this point, even though coaching is a highly unregulated field. We believe that folks that we're working with have a lot to offer. So yeah, so those are
Yeah.
my thoughts. It's a lot, Michael, but
Hmm.
you want to add a few
I
pieces as
do.
well? Yeah.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to, and where a lot of both the coaching or the objections to price come from, as well as sometimes the resistance on the coach's part around what they're charging, is this conflating time with money.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend and a colleague, Sharon Spano, who's a wonderful coach in her own right, and she wrote a book called The Pursuit of Time and Money. It's about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
One that I took from it is, really a great way to prosperity, and this goes well beyond coaching, is to stop feeling like you need to trade your time for money. If
Mm-hmm.
it makes you a little too nervous as a coach who's not, a master or anything like that, to compare yourself to Pablo Picasso, I have a similar, more down to earth story, which is I recently worked with a computer programmer. We were working on something for me on Zoom. We scheduled an hour to fix something, and it took about 20 minutes, and it was done. I was really happy with it, and I happily paid him what we agreed on. I was thrilled. I wasn't trying to squeeze every
Mm-hmm.
minute out of him.
Right.
I wanted the thing fixed, and I'm not going to penalize him for doing it really efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just one example of it not necessarily being about the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my suggestion to coaches, and something I've had to learn, is it can be helpful to think about coaching and making change in someone's life similarly. We're not going to do it in 20 minutes. We're not computer programmers, and our clients aren't computers.
Mm-hmm.
But the value is not in trying to squeeze every drop out of 60 minutes, or giving free sessions, or giving 9 for the price of 8 or anything like that.
Right.
It's the extent to which you can actually make change in someone's life. Whether it's
I love that.
3
Mm-hmm.
sessions or 5 sessions, is their life appreciably different
Mm-hmm.
and better in the ways that they wanted as a result of their conversations with you? I think
Absolutely.
that's the value, and that's what I'd recommend highlighting when it comes to pricing, what you charge, what you should be charging, and your value as a coach. What kinds of change can you help catalyze in someone's life,
Mm-hmm.
and leave the kind of, the amount of time it's going to take, and the 2-for-1 deals or anything else like that to the side. It's really about the
Yeah.
change. And that's what people, I find, are often willing and excited to pay for.
I love that. Well said. Yeah, I think that totally plus one that, and I think that yeah, it's to me that harkening back to what was the conversation you had that got to the point where you're talking about pricing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what would it be like for you if you have this dream or this realization of this new you that we're working on together? That's worth a lot, and it's going to take time and money, but it's like that's not that stuff can work itself out, because if that change can happen, it's like, well, with this little computer example, you're
Mm-hmm.
more efficient now. You're able to
Yeah.
do things faster, quicker. You understand how it works, and it's like upgraded things well beyond what the original cost was. And so it's sometimes hard to see that when we're facing that. And yeah. So anything else to add, Michael? I think that that's a pretty
Yeah,
good.
just another thing kind of around that quickly.
Yeah.
And it takes so much more than time and money. I mean, people have a lot of time and money if they want to
Hmm.
throw at themselves and making change.
Right.
And if you're a good coach, you're going to be the X factor, and you're going to be able to help them in ways that simply applying time and money to whatever your client's problem is hasn't
Hmm.
worked so far.
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind if you're struggling with your own value, and or if someone's challenging you on that perceived value.
That's great. Cool. Well, we'd love to hear your comments, feedback. As always, please subscribe to the channel and
Mm-hmm.
plus one our
Yeah.
video, like it, and
Yeah, if you like
and
this video,
comment.
like this video. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, comment. And thanks for tuning in. So I will we'll see you on the next video.
Yeah, thank you.